My cousin, who I'll call Laura, 29 female, lives with my aunt and uncle. My aunt and uncle are good people, but they have the unfortunate mentality that their child is perfect, and if anything doesn't go Laura's way, it's because everyone else is mean and unfair to Laura and doesn't recognize how special she is. Laura at least has some hobbies, like soap making and gardening. She keeps up with some friends through social media, and I think attends creative writing workshops. Laura doesn't have any disabilities that stop her from living independently. Yet Laura doesn't, and has practically no life skills. Laura has never had a job, nor does she do chores. My aunt and uncle cook all her meals, drive her everywhere, and schedule all her doctor and dentist appointments as if Laura's a little kid. I was visiting their house a few days ago to drop off a present for my aunt's birthday. I wasn't able to come on the actual day. My aunt and uncle insisted that I stay for a bit. Laura was out of the house. We sat down at the table and they admitted that they wanted to talk to me. They explained that they wanted to sell their current house and buy an RV and travel the country. The issue was that they needed some extra money to assure Laura had a place to live, as well as meal plans, other services, and they needed me to donate some money or allow Laura to move in with me. I thought this was ridiculous and told them no. My aunt and uncle called me an awful family member because this is to make sure Laura is okay, and they should get to enjoy their retirement and have the experiences that they saved up all these years for. I told them that Laura's perfectly capable of standing on her own feet, and it's ridiculous that they're still doing everything for her as if she's a little kid. And if they want Laura to live life on easy mode, then facilitating it is their problem. Now a lot of family members are calling me the a-hole because I was raised to be respectful, yet I disrespected my elderly aunt and uncle. They had Laura much later in life and are elderly, and criticized their role as parents when I've never had children and have no room to talk. I still think what I said was true, and they needed to hear how ridiculous what they were demanding of me was. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Everything you said was true. People don't like bluntness, but they need it. Laura needed to start learning to be an adult a decade ago. They had plenty of time. Not the a-hole. I hate when people say, respect your elders, especially after the elders have disrespected you. Respect is earned. Laura is not your responsibility, and you don't owe her or your aunt and uncle anything. Not the a-hole. I think perfect child syndrome is often a result of parents getting their miracle child when they thought they couldn't have one. I don't think you have an obligation to Laura since it doesn't seem like the two of you are close. Either way, she's perfectly able of getting her life together. My wife passed away when my sons were 8 and 4 respectively. Since then, I remarried, and my new wife and I have been married for some 11 years now. She herself was married before and had a daughter of her own from her own past marriage. Her ex-husband's story is its own saga, but suffice to say, he's alive but isn't in their life anymore. When we married, my bio children were 13, son, and 9, son, and my stepdaughter was 12, stepdaughter. For 11 years, I tried to make some bridges. I would get her gifts and try to make sure she always got what she wanted. I did everything I could to make her happy. I would drive her to school, be at her extracurriculars. I paid for the nicest private schools for her I could. Not to mention, I worked day and night so I could give her the lifestyle she deserved. My wife is a housewife, a choice she made after she voluntarily quit her job in marketing. I tried my best and treated her just like my sons, but she continued to hate me. This came to a head specifically when my stepdaughter graduated about 5 years ago. While my eldest son had invited my wife, his stepmom, to his graduation, my stepdaughter refused to invite me. She had 2 tickets, but she only invited her mother. Her grandparents refused as they live in my wife's native country. When I asked why, she said, "You're not my dad, you didn't raise me, and I don't want you in my life." I was heartbroken. I tried very hard for her to like me, but she hated me. Still, I paid for her college. I paid for both of my sons' colleges as well. Nevertheless, a few months back, she informed my wife that she will be getting married. I only found out when my wife told me. What was even more devastating is that she said she would come home to celebrate, and I bought a cake and balloons and so much more. Then, last minute, she changed plans. She just told my wife that she should come over to her apartment, without my sons and I. I was shattered. When I did eventually call to congratulate her, she just tried to end the conversation as quickly as she could. The last thing I had asked was maybe the honor to have a father-daughter dance with her, which she had shot down. I said nothing, but then came the bill, and my wife said she needed some money for her wedding. I considered it long and hard, but clearly, as she didn't consider me as her father, I said I would not be paying for her wedding. I told my wife that she had money saved up. It was her choice to use that if she wanted, but I would not be paying for her wedding. She was furious at me. She said she barely had any money saved up, and I was being an awful person. I have received calls from all of my wife's family telling me that I should pay, mainly her immediate family, like my father-in-law and my brother-in-law. The whole thing has become a mess. It has divided our family, but I am still holding my ground. Am I the a-hole? First edit. I want to be clear. I will absolutely be paying for my son's wedding when it comes. Second edit. I want to also clarify that this is going to be far from a minor financial inconvenience. While I am sufficiently wealthy, it is still not something that will not go easy on my bank account. My wife's family is Indian, her ex-husband was Indian, and my stepdaughter is Indian. Her wedding is going to have probably around 400 to 600 people. Third edit. My wife has been an amazing mother to both our boys and our girl. She's a loving and doting wife who runs a phenomenal house. She tried to get her daughter close to me as well, to little consequence. I also do not think that I could be where I am without her, and certainly before her I was nowhere close to where I am in my success. It is also true that my money has always been our money, and she does most of the accounting for the house anyway. If I do this, I would be doing this for her, not my daughter. Moreover, if she really wanted to, she could do it without my approval. More than half the money is in bank accounts with her name on them. Long story involving bad business decisions early in my life, which gave me bad credit. If she wanted to, she could. She never has, and I do not think she will. If she does, that will be her choice, and even if she told me she was going to, I do not think I would stop her. Fourth edit. Some of you have DM'd me questions about my life. Yes, I do have one son with my wife. My wife had her daughter when she was quite young, 19, and we had a baby boy. It was not planned and he is 3 now, after my daughter graduated. I wish to keep parts of my life hidden because they were not important to the story. But some of you have mentioned that this may be important to the story as it may have impacted my relationship with my daughter. I assure you, she was just as cold with me before the baby, and the event at her graduation happened before my daughter knew about the pregnancy. Not the a-hole. Your stepdaughter said you are not her dad. You are not obligated to pay for her wedding since you are not her dad, even though you tried and supported her. Them to ask for money from her biological dad. That's the very least they can do. At this age, her daughter will never accept you as a father figure, so you can accept that fact and act accordingly. Not the a-hole. Why on earth would you pay for this? You probably aren't even on the guest list. She's used to using your money. That should have stopped long ago, but now is as good a time as any. Not the a-hole. Frankly, your wife holds a lot of responsibility as to why your stepdaughter does not respect you. It would appear you're paying for private school and paying for her college is not a good enough reason for your wife to have some very strong conversations with your daughter about respect and what family actually means. Male 29, for context. Around 3 years ago, I met Ashley through a mutual friend of ours, and we hit it off immediately. We have similar careers and lifestyles, are both fairly liberal socially and politically, and love spending time with each other. Like all couples, we've had our moments of disagreement and tension, but we've worked through them and have a very loving and happy relationship. 2 months ago, I proposed, and she accepted. I should mention that Ashley and I come from pretty differing backgrounds. I'm from a more middle-class, low-key, and very liberal family, while her family is pretty wealthy, conventional, and conservative. Her parents have always been very generous and kind to me personally, but the few times our parents have met and interacted could be best described as strained. So my cousin Joe and I are very close in age, and although living 5 to 6 hours apart most of our lives, we have been pretty much inseparable all throughout. However, he's had a bit of a rougher go of things with some poor decisions and personal problems. He spent some time in jail due to charges stemming from a fight outside a bar. Long story. And fathered a child unintentionally out of wedlock. He also looks much less clean-cut than me, tattoos, long hair, etc. Despite these issues, he has always been an incredibly compassionate and kind person and helped me through some difficult problems in my life. He has gotten sober, accepted his responsibilities as a parent, and is genuinely trying to right his wrongs. The moment I got engaged, I knew I wanted Joe as my best man. Although I had several other close friends, it wasn't even a question. However, when I mentioned this to Ashley, it was instantly clear she wasn't thrilled with the choice, although she didn't say too much else at the time. Last night, she calmly confronted me and said she would like me to choose a different best man. She said she is fine with him being in the wedding party and has no issues with him personally. They've met a couple times and always gotten along fine. But given his history and appearance, and the already strained family ties, another choice would be better for everyone involved. It wasn't necessarily an ultimatum, but she did say she'd have to think everything over more if I wasn't willing to do this. I'm torn. On one hand, I know compromise is essential to any relationship, and it's not like she's trying to have him blacklisted from the wedding or even thrown out of the wedding party. On the other hand, this is my family, and I've told her how much he means to me. I feel like I'd be a sham if I gave in and chose someone else, and wondering what I'd have to give up next. Would I be the a-hole for calling this off? No a-hole, I think. Listen, this is hard for me to pinpoint, but it sounds like your fiancée is doing this because she doesn't want to strain her family ties further. Okay, makes sense. You want to have someone as your best man who you want to be. Okay, makes sense. As far as I can tell, no one has been argumentative about it, so talk it out. Figure out if there's a way to make it work. I don't think either of you are acting like an a-hole. You're the a-hole if you call it off right now, not the a-hole for being upset. Work it out, man. Figure out what the issue is, talk it through. Explain how much this means to you. You're about to get married to this person. Next time you hit a big block like this, you won't be able to call things off. You would be the a-hole for calling it off, sure. Why on earth are you jumping straight to canceling the wedding? Compromise is important in relationships, yes? So compromise. Maybe you could start by talking to your fiancé. Me, 29 male, and my fiancée Bridget, 26 female, are set to be married in May. As we've been planning our wedding, we've made sure to have each other's wishes in mind and not make any decisions without talking to each other. However, I decided to make one decision without consulting Bridget, not allowing her siblings to attend. This decision was made around February when we were sending out wedding invitations. I understand it does seem like a jerk move, but it is not something that has been done out of spite. Bridget's siblings, 28 male and 32 female, are very mean, to put it lightly. Full-on mean. Not even joking when I say there's something straight out of a movie. There have been many times when Bridget would come back crying from a family night because of the aggression she endured from her siblings. From what I know, this is not something that has only begun in adulthood, but was very prominent throughout her childhood. Anyway, last night, Bridget told me she'd been called by her elder sister demanding why she and her brother hadn't been invited to the wedding. I tried to explain to Bridget that I didn't want her siblings to attend the party, but she immediately began crying, saying that I didn't understand how much trouble I was causing her and how this would ruin their relationship even more. This morning, I received an email from Bridget's father about how I shouldn't involve myself in their family business and that I shouldn't bring my hatred of Bridget's siblings to influence her decisions. He threatened to not walk Bridget down the aisle if her two siblings weren't invited. Am I the a-hole? Not trying to be purposefully mean, but I just don't believe that Bridget's siblings should be a part of her special day when they've caused her so much pain. You're the a-hole. You acted unilaterally in uninviting her siblings without consulting her? That's not working together as a partnership now, is it? Consider this. Their relationship is strained, I get it. But by omitting them from attending, all you did is create more drama, unnecessarily. Now it's going to be even more tense for her. And now her dad's been dragged into this. Sure, their coming isn't great, but they could have been sat far away from you at the reception. And furthermore, omitting them is something your fiancé never asked for. I know this was done for the best intentions, but you should have foreseen this going south. This should have been a conversation between you two, not something you just did, and definitely not something she should have been surprised to hear about. You're the a-hole. That wasn't your decision to make. You absolutely do not get to make major decisions about the guest list of your shared wedding without consulting your future wife. You guys are getting married, becoming equal partners. It's not a great start to go behind her back and ban her own family from her own wedding without asking her. You are absolutely the a-hole, not for not liking her sisters, but for being controlling. It's her family, like them or not, and she gets a say in that. You're the a-hole. That was her choice to make. Your heart may have been in the right place, but that was a bad play. Honestly, you probably just forced a bigger rift between them. Family dynamics are very complicated sometimes. Your job as a partner is to be there for your fiancé, not to make decisions for them. I would be pissed if I was her. So, my parents are divorced because 4 years ago, my dad was having an affair. The affair was pretty devastating for several people in the family because the woman and my aunt, dad's sister, had a history of issues, and then my mom was clueless to the fact. She was so blindsided by it that it was 1 week before they were due to go on their delayed honeymoon. He only told everyone the truth because she was pregnant. Later, she miscarried. Then he tried to get back with my mom after and used me to try. He told me to tell her I wanted my parents back together and would never forgive her if she didn't accept him. I refused, and our relationship fractured even more. He stayed with the other woman and married her. So my aunt stopped talking to him, and so did my grandpa. I stopped talking to him back in March and used virus lockdown as the reason. I was 17, turned 18 in September. Then he couldn't do anything once September came, and I became legally an adult. He made it clear he wanted to go to my graduation, so I went to my school and asked that they not send him info, because they normally send parents the details, and last year they got Zoom details for Zoom graduation, and to not give him any tickets if he asked. Basically, he is blacklisted. He's pissed that I did it and started harassing my mom until she changed her number. He told me it was a childish a-hole move to stop them coming because they're my family too. I told him he and his family are nothing to me and I want him to leave me alone. One of my friends thought it was a little over the top to get him blacklisted, but almost everyone else thinks I did the right thing if I don't want them there. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Don't let someone else invalidate your feelings. You seem very hurt and angry about what he's done, and with good cause. In time, you may wish to change the relationship you have with him. You may not, but that choice is yours. As a parent, the best thing he could do right now is to apologize for hurting you and give you the time and space you need. Congratulations on graduating, and good luck for the future. Not the a-hole. He's the one acting like a child. Good on you, OP, for cutting out toxic people in your life. Not the a-hole. He's trying to emotionally manipulate you into making him a part of your life. Stand your ground. You're 18.